All right, live stream is active. Good afternoon, folks. You all are here for your first appearance.
Buenas tardes, están aquí para su primer comparecencia.
You have the right to an attorney.
Tiene derecho de ser representado por un abogado.
If you have a private attorney, then please tell me that.
Si tiene abogado privado, por favor infórmemelo.
If you'd like the public defender, then I will appoint one to represent you.
Si quiere defensor de oficio, yo le voy a designar uno para que lo represente.
I will advise you of the charge or charges pending against you.
Le voy a indicar el cargo o los cargos pendientes en su contra.
Determine whether there was probable cause for your arrest.
Y determinar si hubo motivo fundado para su arresto.
And address the conditions of your pretrial release.
Le voy también a indicar las condiciones para que pueda salir.
If I issue a no contact order in your case,
Si le impongo una orden de no contacto en su caso,
then you may not have any contact with the person listed directly or indirectly.
entonces no va a poder tener ningún tipo de contacto con la presunta víctima, ni directo ni indirecto.
That means you may not contact that person in any way, shape, or form,
Quiere decir que no puede contactar a esa persona de ninguna forma.
and no one else may contact that person for you.
No puede usar a ninguna tercera persona para contactarla.
If I issue a no weapons order in your case,
Si le impongo una orden de no posesión de armas en su caso,
then you must deliver all firearms to the sheriff
entonces debe llevar todas sus armas al alguacil
as a condition of your release.
como condición de su salida.
You have the right to remain silent.
Tiene el derecho de permanecer callado.
Everything you say today will be recorded
Cualquier cosa que diga en el día de hoy va a ser grabada
and may be used against you later.
y podría ser usada en su contra más adelante.
So, Rich, everybody in this courtroom is in this stack. I can just go down it. Some of them won't be here, though. Okay, thank you. Michael Anderson with Mr. Verderamo. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Ms. Karimi, this one was added last minute.
All right, Mr. Stewart, you with us?
Yes, Judge.
All right, 24s. This is Michael Anderson. Possession of marijuana, more than 20 grams. Resisting without violence. Possession of paraphernalia. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Mr. Verderamo.
He has no prior criminal history. He's out on bond. Felony cases that you represent him on. There's no issues with failure to appear. He has to the bond be set at the scheduled bond for 3 years.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stewart.
Nothing else to the bond amount, Judge, so obviously would ask the court to revoke his bond in 19. Yes, 9.
Bond on count 1, that's the felony charge, is $5,000. Count 2 is $2,000. Count 3 is $2,000. And the state's motion is granted, and that is to revoke bond 19 CF 799. Thank you, Mr. Verderamo. Do you have any others while we have Mr. Stewart?
I have Bruno Gagliano.
I'm happy to take him as long as he's in this courtroom. Bruno Gavilano. All right, thank you. All right, sir, you're charged with DUI.
Señor, usted está acusado de haber conducido bajo la influencia del alcohol.
I've read the paperwork and find probable cause.
Leí sus papeles y he encontrado motivos suficientes para su arresto.
Mr. Verderamo.
Judge, that argument is standard bond schedule. He is out on bond for DUI that I'm representing for defense.
Abogado veterano, encuentra presente.
Mr. Stewart.
Your Honor, I would ask the court to revoke his bond on the pending DUI, which is 201635 CT, and also would ask that the court, because of the prior and the fact of this case, order sober link and no alcohol as the condition of his bond in the new case.
Señor, el fiscal ha solicitado que no se le ponga fianza y que se le ponga un brazalete telemático, se le instale un brazalete telemático.
Bond is $2,500.
$2,500 de fianza.
No possession or consumption of alcohol.
No puede poseer ni consumir bebidas alcohólicas.
Sober link prior to release.
Se le va a poner un brazalete telemático.
And the state's motion to revoke in 20 CT 1635 is granted.
Y se le impone una orden para revocarle fianza por otro caso.
Please tell him that I will be in contact with his daughter, not to post the bond on his case.
Señor, tu abogado indica
Any others?
que habló con su hija y que no deposite fianza en este caso.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Verderamo. Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Still here, Judge.
Ms. Creamy's back. Miles Burke is charged with DUI and reckless driving. Mr. Burke, did you apply for a public defender? I can't hear you. Did you hear my question?
Yes, I did, sir.
All right, so did you apply for the public defender?
Yes, I did.
All right, public defender is appointed. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Ms. Hall, comments on bond. Ms. Creamy.
Schedule bonds are fine, sir.
He does qualify and there's room. All right, so I did sign a no contact order. He's not to have contact with the witness in this case. Bond is $1,000 per count or pretrial release per count. Regardless of his decision, Ms. Hall, additional conditions include no possession or consumption of alcohol and sober link prior to release. Thank you, sir. Next up is Jamal Graves. Mr. Graves is charged. Pardon? He refused? All right, Ms. Hall, do you know whether he's applied for your office? All right, so we will proceed based on his refusal to participate. Excuse me, he's charged with driving on a suspended license, permanently revoked. That's a felony charge. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Ms. Karimi, comments on bond? Bond is $5,000. Michael Hare. All right, thank you. Then we'll proceed in his absence based on his refusal. He's here on a violation of state probation. His presiding judge has already made a finding of probable cause and set no bond. Kyle Gendersea is charged with battery. Say that again, please.
Have you heard?
Of course.
It's just for the record, Thomas North Wall, down there, Joe Marie, who is the victim in this case, she's her office representative, that Cassidy for the issue.
All right, and Mr. Vitale?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Nico Vitale on behalf of Mr. Genders.
All right, so again, the charge is battery. I have read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. I'm going to go to Mr. Vitale and the prosecutor first. Mr. Gorman, I will give you a chance to address the court after that.
Thank you.
Mr. Vitale, comments on bond?
Your Honor, Mr. Genders is a longtime Collier County resident. He has a business here. He employs several people. He does not have any ability to appear in his past record and did turn himself in his warrant. He would ask to schedule bonding on it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vitale. Response from the state, Ms. Karimi.
This is a domestic violence case. I know the court has reviewed the defendant's history. One thing that I want to bring to the court's attention is that a different woman filed an injunction for protection against this defendant. She was the respondent in 2019, and that was granted in August of 2019 by Judge McGowan. And Mr. Gorman actually represented Kyle Gendersea during that injunction proceeding. Your Honor, the state, given the facts of this case, the defendant's history, the victim actually suffered injuries where she had to go to the hospital for a period of time. The state is requesting a $25,000 bond, and we're asking the court to issue sober links because there were allegations of alcohol in the report.
All right, thank you. Mr. Gorman.
Judge, it's got no bearing whatsoever on my appearance today. There's no conflict there. It's a completely separate incident, and I represent Ms. Marie for today's purpose of today's hearing.
Okay, is there anything you want to say about this case?
Judge, may Ms. Marie be sworn in?
Sure. She can come on up here, take an oath, and then you can elicit some testimony. Good afternoon, ma'am. Will you raise your right hand, face the clerk to be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Thank you. Ma'am, please state your full name for the record.
Cheryl Marie?
All right, and you have asked me to assist you with today's hearing, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and the court always has concerns in any allegations of domestic violence. Is it my understanding that you do not wish to have a no contact order imposed to this?
That is correct.
All right, and you understand that if the judge were inclined to not issue that no contact order, and there were some incident in the future, that you have the ability to call law enforcement if some incident were to arrive?
Yes.
And would you make yourself available to those tools if you felt it necessary?
Yes.
In addition, this incident happened back in November. Have you been residing continuously with Mr. Genesee since November? And have there been any incidents whatsoever since November?
Never.
All right. Are you afraid of Mr. Genesee at this time?
No.
Okay. And you wish to continue to reside with Mr. Genesee and continue to be in a dating relationship with him going forward?
I do.
Judge, I don't have any further questions.
All right, and based on that testimony, Mr. Vitale, do you have any requests or arguments regarding conditions of pretrial release?
Based on
Her testimony?
based on her testimony, we would ask for the no contact order not to be imposed based on her testimony.
All right, Ms. Creamy?
Your Honor, the state is requesting the no contact order for the safety of the victim. As the report states, this incident led to 3 broken ribs on her left side.
Ma'am, tell me about the history of violence between you and, is he your husband?
No, he's my boyfriend.
Your boyfriend? Okay, tell me about the history of violence between the two of you.
This was an isolated incident. I've known Kyle for almost 20 years. He's been my friend. And the last year and a half, he's been my boyfriend.
Okay,
And I have never seen him act out in any way like this prior. Nor do I feel that it was directed towards me. I feel safe.
refresh my memory, I think in the booking sheet, didn't it say at the time of this incident, he did not live with you, he came over to your place?
We were living together.
Okay,
We'd
and you,
spend the nights there.
okay, but you didn't want him to come over on that particular day because he had been out drinking, right?
Correct.
That's what, I think, according to the booking sheet, that's what that says anyway. Okay, Mr. Gorman had asked you a question about the no contact order. I just want to go over that again to make sure I understand your position and to make sure you understand what I can do today. With the nature of this charge, I can easily set as a condition of his release a no contact order, which would prevent him, even if he bonds out, from having any contact with you. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
And that's what Mr. Gorman was asking you about. And I know that it's difficult to phrase that without using a double negative, but you said you do not want a no contact order, right? Stated differently, you do want to have contact with
I
him.
do want to have contact, yes.
Okay, and in fact, it sounds like he's been living with you since this incident in November.
Correct.
Does that mean full time, or he just sleeps over there occasionally like you just said?
Full-time.
Full time, he lives with you. And so in addition to the no contact order, another order that I would typically enter would be a no trespass order. I assume if you want to have contact, you're also asking me not to enter the no trespass order.
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Gorman talked about this as well, but again, I'm going to go over it again. You understand that you're free to call 911 in the event of an emergency? And will you do that if necessary to protect yourself? Do you also understand you're free to come here to the courthouse and apply for a restraining order if you are in fear for your safety?
Yes.
And will you, do you understand you can do that before violence actually happens? Will you do that if necessary to protect yourself? Mr. Gorman, anything else from you?
No, Judge.
Mr. Vitale?
Not on the issue, Your Honor.
All right, based on your testimony, I'm not going to enter the no contact order or a no trespass order, although I believe the balance of the state's request is reasonable. Based on the allegations, I am going to set bond at $25,000. I'm also issuing a no alcohol provision and sober link prior to release, because based on my reading of the booking sheet, I believe that was a factor in this particular incident, and I signed a no weapons order. Ms. Creamy, anything else from you?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Vitale?
No, sir.
Mr. Gorman?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you all very much. Good luck to you. He qualifies for pretrial release. State, comment on that?
He would object to pretrial release, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm not going to offer him that option. Okay, thank you. Robert Levy. He refused. We will proceed in his absence, charged with 3 counts of criminal mischief under 200. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Do we know whether he applied for a public defender? May not know. Okay. State, comments on bond, please.
The state doesn't have comments on bond, Your Honor. We'll just have a motion at the appropriate time.
All right, go ahead.
Your Honor, he is currently in custody with the ability to post a bond on 3 separate cases, 21 MM 35, 21 MM 46, and 21 TF 45. The state is asking the court to revoke those bonds or the ability to post those bonds in those 3 cases.
All right, bond in the instant case is $2,000 per count, and the state's motion to revoke bond is granted in 21 MM 35, 21 MM 46, 21 CF 45.
Your Honor, I sent orders to your JA earlier.
I've got them. Yep, and they're printed up. I'm signing them as we go. Freddie Lopez. Mr. Lopez, you're here today charged with no valid driver's license. Sir, what is your name, please?
Señor, ¿cuál es su nombre? Freddy Gómez.
Gomez or Lopez?
¿Gómez o López? Gómez López.
All right. Do you need a Spanish translator?
¿Necesita intérprete de español? Yes.
All right, I find that he does qualify for a translator.
Se ha determinado que califica para un intérprete.
Sir, the charge is driving without a valid driver's license.
Señor, el cargo en su contra es de haber conducido sin licencia válida.
Have you applied for a public defender?
Si toma
She says he wished to contact his family before he makes that decision.
All right, Mr. Lopez, do you want to proceed today without a lawyer?
Señor López, ¿usted desea continuar en el día de hoy sin abogado? Desea continuar en el día de hoy sin abogado.
Sir, let me ask you another question. I was just told that you want to contact your family before you decide whether to apply for a public defender.
Señor, se me indicó que usted desea comunicarse con su familia antes de solicitar defensor de oficio.
Is that true?
¿Es cierto? Yes.
So does that mean you want to proceed today without a lawyer?
Eso quiere decir que usted desea continuar en el día de hoy sin abogado. Yes.
You're charged with driving without a valid driver's license.
Está acusado de haber conducido sin licencia válida.
I find probable cause.
Encuentro causa probable.
Mr. Lopez, do you have any comments on bond? What? It's Mr. Gomez Lopez.
Señor Gómez López, ¿tiene algún comentario con relación a su fianza? I don't understand.
I'm about to set bond.
Estoy a punto de imponerle fianza.
I'm giving you a chance to address the court before I do that.
Le estoy dando la oportunidad de que se dirija al tribunal antes de ponerle fianza.
If there's anything you want to say.
Si hay algo que quiere decir. Yes, to pay the bond.
Okay, anything else?
¿Algo más? Only that.
State?
Bond.
Bond is $500,
$500.
and there is an immigration detainer in this case.
El Departamento de Inmigración tiene una orden de detención en su contra.
Thank you, sir.
Gracias.
Christopher Martinez. All right, thank you. We will proceed in his absence based on his refusal. Mr. Martinez is charged with driving on a suspended third or subsequent offense. That's a felony charge, and resisting arrest without violence. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Ms. Creamy, any comments on bond?
No, Your Honor.
7,500 on count 1, 2,500 on count 2. Joseph Owens. All right, thank you. We'll proceed in his absence based on his refusal. Mr. Owens is charged with violation of a no contact order. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Ms. Karimi, do you have any comments on bond?
No, Your Honor, but I would ask the court to revoke his bond or his ability to post bond in 20 MM 2132 and 21 MM 60.
All right, I did sign a no contact order. He's not to have contact with the alleged victim, marked as confidential. Additional requirement is the no weapons order. Bond is $10,000. And the state's motion to revoke bond is granted in 20 MM 2132 and 21 MM 60. I feel like I maybe misspoke on those case numbers. I'll say those one more time. It's 20 MM 2132 and 21 MM 60.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, you good? All right, Kevin Rothmeyer. Mr. Rothmeyer is charged with failure to remit sales tax. That's $20,000 to $100,000. That's a second-degree felony. Failure to file 6 consecutive tax returns. That's a third-degree felony. And 2 counts of refusal to file tax returns, first-degree misdemeanor. Sir, have you applied for a public defender?
No, sir, I would like to
All right, you want me to appoint a public defender today, and then you plan to hire a private lawyer?
Yes, please.
All right, Ms. Hall, I will appoint your office contingent upon an application or qualification or substitute counsel. Again, this is Mr. Rothmeyer. Do you need a minute to review that file, or are you ready to proceed? All right, I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Ms. Hall, do you have any comments on bond? So you're asking for that in the alternative? State?
Your Honor, I spoke to Mr. Samato, who's the prosecutor handling this case. He requested scheduled bond.
All right. Ms. Creamy, any comments? I'm told that he is eligible for diversion and there's room.
I mean, pretrial release.
What did I say?
Version.
I didn't mean diversion. Pretrial release?
Yes, sir.
And there's room. Okay. Any objection to that in the alternative?
No, Your Honor, no objection to that.
Bond?
Well, can I hear the conditions? I'm sorry.
The conditions would just be the standard monetary, of the pretrial release, it would be phone check-ins.
Yeah, that's no objection to that, Judge.
All right, bond on count 1 is $10,000 or pretrial release. Bond on count 2 is $5,000 or pretrial release. Count 3 is $2,000 or pretrial release. And count 4 is $2,000 or pretrial release. All right, so you have those options, sir. Thank you. Forgot that. Thank you. Ivan Turrentine is charged with 2 counts of possession of paraphernalia. Mr. Turrentine, did you apply for a public defender? All right, I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Do you have any comments on bond?
So I strongly denounce this charge, and I ask for release of my private citizen.
Okay, thank you. Response from the state?
I couldn't hear him, but I would just request scheduled bond.
Bond is $2,000 per count. Thank you, sir. Alejandro Zambrano, driving on a suspended license. Mr. Zambrano, have you applied for a public defender? All right, public defender is appointed. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Ms. Hall, comments on bond. State.
Your Honor, I would like to let the court know he has a pending DWSR in Lee County that occurred November 16th, 2020. It was just a notice to appear. The case is still open.
All right, bond is $1,000. Thank you, sir. And I believe that completes this area of the jail. Thank you. So this next group, we also have, oh, you said only 2 people there, I think. And one of them, Ms. Hall, you want to speak with off the record, right? So what that means, Madam Clerk, if we could, I'd like to go to Mr. Russo's case, if that's okay with you. Ms. Creamy, are you handling 215?
Yes, Judge.
Well, let's actually, Mr. Russo, depends on where your client is. And JC, do you have Lusandy Diaz Vidal?
No, Your Honor. Not right now because we still have 2 from the quarantine blocks from the 24th. So I don't have any of the 215, please.
Will they be?
He will be in.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Russo. That's okay. Thank you. So they're going to be coming into this room after we're done here.
Yes.
And so do you just have these 2 individuals with you right now?
I do. I just got Ms. Anderson, Ms. Rosentrager, Mr. Lacefield, and Thomas both refused.
So you have, sorry, so the ones you do have are Ms. Anderson and who was it? Ms. Rosentrager. Okay. Ms. Hall, did you want to make your comments to them?
It's Ms. Rosentrager that I need to.
And you want to speak to her off the record outside of my presence? Okay, and outside of Ms. Creamy's, she's not welcome either, is she? Okay. Ms. Creamy, we both have to go.
Okay, you can call me back, right?
I will call you back. And I'm going to step into the hallway, so I won't be here for this conversation either, okay?
Okay.
I'll call you back, thanks. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the record off, and I'm going to leave the YouTube live stream, but we're on mute, okay? Live streaming on YouTube. First up is Alexandria Anderson, charged with battery on a person 65 or older. Ma'am, have you applied for a public defender?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Ms. Hall, comments on bond. State.
Your Honor, the state's asking for a $10,000 bond. She's actually, as the court read the allegation, battered her father. There's an open case where she battered her mother. The court's going to ask to revoke her pretrial release status in that case, 20 MM 402. For the protection of these victims, it's important that she remain in custody.
All right, and actually I forgot to make my opening remarks to this group of folks. I did to the earlier group. So Ms. Anderson, you just stay right where you are. I'm going to make some comments to both of you first about 24s. This is your first appearance on this charge. You have the right to an attorney. If either of you have a private attorney, then please tell me that when we call your name. If you'd like the public defender, then I'll appoint one to represent you. When we do call your name, we will advise you of the charge or charges pending against you. I will determine whether there was probable cause to support that charge and address the conditions of your pretrial release. If I issue a no contact order, you're not to have any contact with the person listed, directly or indirectly. That means you may not contact that person in any way, shape, or form, and no one else may contact that person for you. If I issue a no weapons order in your case, then you must deliver all firearms to the sheriff as a condition of your release. You have the right to remain silent. Everything you say today will be recorded and may be used against you later. Again, public defenders appointed for Ms. Anderson. The charge is battery on a person 65 or older. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. I did sign a no contact order for the alleged victim and a no weapons order as a condition of release. Additionally, I've signed a no trespass order at the location of this incident. The name of the alleged victim and the address are marked as confidential, and bond is $10,000. The state's motion to revoke bond in 20 MM 402 is granted. Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
This is actually her pretrial release status because she was in diversion and discharged due to failing to complete it.
Okay, granted. All right, Christina Rosentrager is here on 2 counts of fugitive from justice out of Lee County. One is on a petty theft charge, the other dealing in stolen property. Ms. Hall, were you speaking with her? So are you involved in this case?
No, Your Honor, I am her attorney on a case in front of you, 20 CPA 91, and she was
All right, but you don't have any comments on these 2 fugitive from justice counts before me first, okay. All right, State, you have any comments? The fugitive warrants, I believe the amount of bond is left up to the first appearance judge.
That's correct, Judge. These were warrants to arrest that whoever the duty judge was in Lee County at the time signed, and I provided the affidavits to Your Honor. Well, I sent it to Jay, so you can read the facts. Because I guess Judge Gagley already didn't set up a bond at the time that she signed the warrant.
She did not, and just for the record, I've sent an email to her and to the presiding judge. Just haven't heard back from the presiding judge yet if he had any input on bond. And so it's up to this court to decide now. Ms. Creamy, do you have any other comments on that issue? I do find probable cause. I just need to set a bond.
Your Honor, she has multiple prior thefts. I would ask the court to heighten that, at the very least, the theft bond.
Well, and I'm concerned about her appearance. The very nature of these 2 charges is a fugitive from justice out of Lee County twice.
Well, Judge, I don't think she FCA'd from there. I think that's just how they title these warrants.
Yeah, I'm from Naples. I didn't even know another one when I came to see you, Judge, yesterday for my tickets. I was with you at the end of the.
All right.
These are like warrants when you're the duty judge and the state attorney's office approves them and you sign them. That's what this is.
Okay, bond on count 1 is $2,000, $10,000 on count 2. Now, Ms. Karimi, are you open to addressing another case? Apparently she has a case with me that Ms. Hall would like to address now.
That's fine, Judge.
Ms. Hall, what's that case number?
It is 20 CPA 91.
And Madam Clerk, can you do that?
Yes, Your Honor, I can.
Did you have any advance notice of that? No. Ms. Hall, it'd be helpful if you let her know. I know that these 24s, you don't have a lot of lead time, but it's helpful to the clerk if they know in advance that we're going to be pulling up cases not on the docket. 20 CT 891, this is a driving on a suspended license charge. Ms. Hall, what would you like to do?
He's going to be withdrawing a previously entered plea of not guilty and entering a plea of no contest, the terms of which are adjudication of appeal, 6 months probation, and special condition of probation, 15 days jail with credit for time served that she may do a weekend work or weekend lockdown, and all costs to include cost prosecution.
Ms. Creamy, do you agree with those terms?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. And she'll just have to check in with probation upon her release from custody.
All right, and I'll talk to her about that. Ma'am, what is your name, please?
Christina Rosenberg. May I speak to you for a minute?
May you do what?
May I speak to you for a minute?
Sure, go ahead.
On the, which one did you give me the $10,000 bond?
Dealing in stolen property.
Okay. I am disabled and I do have an autistic child at home. Unfortunately, my husband had COVID, so he did lose his job. He has a part-time job. If it would be possible to lower that amount, I've always come to court. I've never missed anything. I've always I live right down the street.
Well, that's a standard bond. Ms. Creamy, do you have any comments on that? I said a standard bond on both counts.
I had asked the clerk to maintain that.
Ms. Hall, anything else from you?
If you could do a review spot in the fact that I don't think she paid to get out.
Well, I really don't have any basis to do a reduced bond. I'm going to stick to the standard bonds that I've already set. As I said before we addressed the case, I have reached out to the presiding judge, just haven't heard back from him. If he sends me something and says, I have no objection to a reduced bond, then I'll reduce it. But right now it's a standard bond. So, Ms. Rosentrager, do you still want to proceed on this plea or not?
Oh, yes, that's correct.
All right. Did you raise your right hand earlier and take an oath?
I did.
So the charge is driving on a suspended license. The offer, again, is an adjudication of guilt, court costs, costs of prosecution, public defender costs, 6 months of probation, 15 days in jail with credit for all of the time you've already served, and the balance of that time may be served on the weekend work program. Do you understand that offer?
So I don't have to spend any more time in jail, correct?
Correct. On this count, you have the other 2 counts from Lee County, but on this charge, it would be over.
Right. Yes.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I was told by Ms. Hall, she said if I finish early, would there be any early termination, or is that not possible?
That is possible.
Judge, we can make it a shall term upon completion of the jail. And
Okay, it just got better. Not only is it possible, but the prosecutors agreed to make it mandatory. Once you, in other words, automatic. Once you successfully complete the terms of your probation, then your probation will automatically terminate. You don't even have to file a motion with me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
I think that's it.
All right, so do you still want to accept that offer?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty or no contest?
No contest.
Did you read and sign a plea form?
Yes, I did.
Do you understand everything that's explained on the plea form?
Yes, I did.
Do you understand that by entering your plea today, you are waiving all of those rights?
Yes.
Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you are not a United States citizen?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No.
Driving on a suspended license is an enhanceable crime. If you commit this crime again, then you may face higher fines, more jail time, and possibly a felony charge. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
And the Department of Highway Safety Motor Vehicles may use this case against you for future suspension of your driving privilege. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And do you still wish to accept the offer today?
Yes.
Ms. Hall, will you stipulate to venue in the factual basis contained in the discovery material? Ms. Creamy, anything further from you?
no, Your Honor.
All right, in case number 20 CT 891, Ms. Rosentrager, I will accept your plea. Find it freely, voluntarily, knowingly entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest. Adjudication, judgment, and sentence as I previously stated. Thank you, ma'am, and good luck to you.
One more thing, Judge, sorry.
It's okay.
If I find out today, I have to go to the probation officer.
Yeah, you'll have to go, well, I don't think you'll be able to make it today, but you can go by noon tomorrow.
I knew tomorrow. Okay,
Yeah.
and it would be the felony or misdemeanor?
Or misdemeanor, county court probation.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Accept. All right, NJC, is that it for you for 24s? And they're for 24s, not the 215 docket, right? Okay. Okay, gentlemen, will you please stand up, raise your right hand, take an oath?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
All right, you may be seated. You all are here for your first appearance. When I call your name, I will advise you of the charge or charges pending against you. I will determine whether there was probable cause for your arrest and address the conditions of your pretrial release. If I issue a no contact order in your case, then you may not have any contact with the person listed directly or indirectly. That means you may not contact that person in any way, shape, or form, and no one else may contact that person for you. If I issue a no weapons order in your case, then you must deliver all firearms to the sheriff as a condition of your release. You have the right to remain silent. Everything you say today will be recorded, may be used against you later. You also have the right to a lawyer. If you have a private lawyer, then please tell me that when we call your name. If you'd like the public defender, then I will appoint one to represent you. Andrew Strange, criminal mischief under 200. Mr. Strange, would you like the public defender to represent you?
Please.
All right, public defender is appointed. Ms. Hall. Criminal mischief under 200. All right, Ms. Karimi.
That's fine, Judge. He has a pending case in Collier 20 CF 181. The state's asking the court to revoke that bond, and he's also on state probation out of Broward 20 CF 6883, and the state's asking for a Whitman Act.
Ms. Hall, anything else from you? All right, read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Bond is $1,000. The state's motion in 20 CF 181 is granted, and the request for the Whitman Act warrant is likewise granted. Thank you, Mr. Strange. Of course. Once which is resolved? Your new case, your new misdemeanor? Once the misdemeanor is resolved, you'll still be held on no bond on the felony. So that you can raise a motion in front of your presiding judge to have it reinstated, but it is not automatic. All right, thank you. Baxley Leonard, fugitive from justice out of Lee County on driving on a suspended license charge. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Ms. Creamy, any comments from you? The bond set by the presiding judge is $500. That's it, Mr. Leonard. Thank you, sir. So I still have a few folks left on my 24s docket. NJC, are you expecting anyone else for that docket?
No, Your Honor. We have the two individuals who fit the docket in here. That's it.
Okay, well, let's go through the balance of the 24s docket, though, first. Beginning with Ingrid Davila Human. All right. Ms. Hall, are you representing her on the underlying charge?
Your Honor, Mr. Schneider represents her.
Oh, Mr. Schneider is. Okay. Well, this is an FTA. I see the warrant that I signed for $4,000, but let's give her and Mr. Schneider a chance to appear if they are able to, and if he's interested, then we'll bring her back tomorrow. So this will be a return to 24s tomorrow, 1:14. Did I say 1:15?
You said 14.
Oh, good. 1:14. Thank you. Return tomorrow. Next one on the 24s docket is Gregory Lacefield.
Refuse 20.
All right, thank you. And based on that refusal, we will proceed in his absence. He's charged with possession of a controlled substance 2 times, possession of marijuana less than 20 grams, petty theft, third or subsequent, that's a felony theft charge, possession of paraphernalia, resisting without violence, and trespass. I've read the paperwork. I do find probable cause. Ms. Karimi, do you have any comments on bond?
No, Your Honor, just that, not on the new cases, but he is out on bond in 20 CF 984, so the state's asking the court to revoke that bond.
All right, bond on count 1 is $5,000. Count 2 is $5,000. Count 3 is $2,000. Count 4, that's the felony theft charge, $5,000. Count 5, $2,000. Count 6, $2,000. Count 7, $2,000. Additional conditions include no trespass at the racetrack, 2891 East Trail, Circle K, 2934 East Trail, and the state's motion to revoke bond in 20 CF 984 is granted. Michael Thomas has 4 counts. He refused?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Then we'll proceed in his absence. He's got 4 counts. 1 is a violation of state probation. Count 2, possession of a controlled substance. Count 3, possession paraphernalia. Count 4, driving on a suspended license. I've read the paperwork, find probable cause. Ms. Karimi, comments on bond?
No, Your Honor.
No bond on count 1. That's the violation of state probation. Bond is $5,000 on count 2, $2,000 on count 3, and $2,000 on count 4. Clerk, you good? All right. Nathan Selvia. So medical refusal, that means he's unable to attend for some medical reason?
Yes, Your Honor.
As opposed to a willful refusal? He's not just choosing not to come, but he can't come, right?
Yes.
It's hard to tell, but do you have any idea whether he would be able to participate tomorrow if we continued this?
No, Your Honor. He's in quarantine right now.
Did he just begin, is it a 10 or 14-day quarantine?
10 days.
10 days. Based on that, Ms. Hall, my inclination would be to appoint your office to represent him contingent upon an application qualification. Are you okay with that? All right, public defender is appointed to represent Mr. Selvia. Again, possession of paraphernalia, I do find probable cause. Ms. Hall, do you have any comments on bond?
So I don't see that you have any drug trials. I don't see you have any failures to appear, so we're just going to be asking for this.
State?
I would request scheduled bond.
Bond is $2,000. And I am out of paperwork. Is that the end of our 24s?
I think so, Judge.
Okay, thank you. So NJC will begin with our 215 docket when you're ready, and Madam Clerk when you're ready. Oh, Madam Clerk wins. And Mr. Russo will be first once everyone is in place. Good afternoon, sir. Will you please raise your right hand and face the clerk to take an oath?
Buenas tardes, señor. Levante la mano derecha en alto para ser juramentado.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Jura o afirma que el testimonio que va a dar será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad. Yes.
All right, thank you. You can put your hand down, sir.
Baje la mano. Gracias.
This is State versus Louis Sandy Diaz Vidal, 20 CT 1078. Mr. Russo.
Yes, sir. The state has made an offer of a reduced charge to reckless driving.
El Estado ha hecho una oferta para reducirle el cargo a uno de haber conducido temerariamente.
The terms of the plea
Lo que le han ofrecido es
Adjudication of guilt,
su culpabilidad va a constar
90 days or in jail with credit for time served.
90 en la cárcel del condado de Collier, crédito por el tiempo ya cumplido.
Court cost prosecution
Costas procesales, honorarios de fiscalía
and DUI schools.
y tiene que asistir a la escuela para personas que conducen bajo la influencia,
No probation. That's it.
sin probatoria.
Ms. Karimi, do you agree with that?
Yes, Your Honor, at this time, the state would orally amend the charge to willful wanton reckless driving in violation of 316.192 for purposes of the plea.
And Mr. Russo, a couple of questions. First, do you waive all formalities with respect to that change?
Yes, sir.
Second question, has he already done the DUI school?
No, sir. He's been in jail since his arrest.
I'm curious about the lack of probation to monitor and enforce that provision.
Okay.
But just because it's statutorily required, he's doing a maximum amount of jail time on this charge. That's why I ordered it, because he gets cleaned down from a DUI.
Okay, makes sense.
And just another point would be that to reset his license, have to show proof of the DUI school completion because of the administrative suspension that there was in this case.
Okay, so he has to do it anyway.
There are reasons that he'll have to do it that have nothing to do with probation.
Makes sense, thank you. And Madam Clerk, 90 days to pay the financial obligations. Sir, will you tell me your name?
Señor, diga su nombre. Luis Andy Díaz Vélez
Yeah.
Vidal.
All right, sir, when you first came in here this afternoon, you were charged with DUI.
Señor, originalmente usted había estado acusado de haber conducido bajo la influencia.
Your attorney, Mr. Russo,
Su abogado, el licenciado Russo,
negotiated with the prosecutor,
negoció con la fiscalía
and they agreed to reduce the charge to reckless driving.
y ellos aceptaron reducirle el cargo a uno de haber conducido temerariamente.
So that is a change in your favor.
Ese fue un cambio a su favor.
Do you understand that?
¿Entiende eso? Yes.
So the offer on the new charge of reckless driving
La oferta por el nuevo cargo de haber conducido temerariamente
is an adjudication of guilt,
es que su culpabilidad va a constar
court cost, cost of prosecution,
costas procesales, honorarios de fiscalía,
to be paid within 90 days,
tiene 90 días para pagar,
90 days in jail with credit for all time served,
90 días de cárcel con crédito por el tiempo ya cumplido
and DUI school.
y tiene que asistir a la escuela para personas que conducen bajo la influencia.
Do you understand the offer?
¿Entiende la oferta? Yes.
Do you have any questions?
¿Alguna pregunta? No.
Do you want to accept the offer?
¿Quiere aceptar la oferta? Yes.
Are you pleading guilty or no contest?
¿Se está declarando culpable o no disputo?
Sería no disculpe.
Tu abogado dice que se declare no disputo. Okay. No contest.
All right, did you read a plea form?
¿Leyó el formulario de declaratoria? Yes.
Do you understand everything that's explained on that form?
¿Entendió todo el contenido del formulario? Yes.
Do you understand that by entering your plea today, you are waiving all of those rights?
Comprende que al hacer esta declaratoria en el día de hoy renuncia a todos esos derechos.
You need to answer out loud, please.
Tiene que contestar que se escuche. Yes.
Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you are not a United States citizen?
Comprende que si no es ciudadano estadounidense, esta declaratoria será usada en su contra en una audiencia de deportación. Yes.
Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication?
¿Está bajo la influencia de drogas, alcohol o medicamentos? No.
Ms. Karimi, anything further by way of plea colloquy?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Russo, will you stipulate to venue and the factual basis contained in the discovery material?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Mr. Diaz-Vidal, I will accept your plea.
Señor Díaz Vidal, acepto su declaratoria.
Find it freely, voluntarily, knowingly entered.
Encuentro que ha sido libre, voluntaria y con conocimiento de causa,
Upon a factual basis and in your best interest.
basada en un motivo fundado y lo más que le conviene.
Adjudication, all costs,
Su culpabilidad consta todos los costos,
90 days in jail with credit for all time served,
90 días de cárcel con crédito por el tiempo ya cumplido
and DUI school.
y la escuela para personas que conducen bajo la influencia.
Thank you, sir, and good luck to you. Thank you,
Gracias,
Mr. Russo.
señor, y buena suerte.
Okay. Accept. Okay, NJC. Do you also have Richard LaPesca there?
Sure.
All right, good afternoon. Give me just 30 seconds here.
Take your time, sir.
Thank you. Okay, we have Mr. LaPesca here, two cases, 20 CT 570, 20 MM 450, both with Ms. Hall.
He's going to be withdrawing his previously entered plea of not guilty in both cases and entering a plea of no contest to terms of which are to 20 MM 450, failure to register as a felon, an adjudication of guilt, 60 days in jail with credit for time served, and all costs to include cost of prosecution and legal costs, and a 20 CT 570, driving on a suspended license. The terms are adjudication of guilt, 60 days jail with credit for time served, court costs, cost of prosecution.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that on the last case? I totally gapped out. I didn't write down a single thing. I'll be honest with you. I confess, I did not write down a single thing. I got the first case, the failure to register, but gapped out on the second one.
It's the same exact term.
Oh, same terms, okay.
That's correct, Judge. Same terms to run concurrent. This defendant does have a pending violation of state probation out of St. Lucie County.
All right, so in the terms are concurrent. Sir, will you raise your right hand, please? You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. Will you tell me your name?
Richard Kenneth LaPesca Jr.
All right, Mr. LaPesca, you're here on two cases today. One is for driving on a suspended license. The other is failure to register. The offer on both cases is the same. It's an adjudication of guilt, court costs, cost prosecution, public defender costs, and 60 days in jail. That jail time on each case will run concurrently, so it's running at the same time, not one after the other. And you do get credit for all of the time you've already served. And you would have 90 days to pay the financial obligations. Do you understand the offers?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, sir, I do.
Go ahead.
Well, this has not been brought up to me until today. Number two, I've not spoken with anybody from the prosecutor's office about this because I'm actually a pro thing. So I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Because
Well, let's let him finish first and see what he has to say, and then I'll address his concerns best I can.
on the 8th of October, I put in a motion to dismiss counsel from the public defender's office of all representation. On that same day, I submitted a motion for notice of appearance to represent myself.
Well, I see that, but did you ever set your, when you say I'm looking for your motion to discharge. Oh, you said a notice of appearance pro se. Here's the thing. You have to schedule a hearing. Am I the presiding judge in this case, or do we just set this for a plea in front of me?
I don't think so. No, Judge Nicole is.
Judge Nicola, you've got to set, if you want, I do see a notice of appearance from the public defender.
Yes, Judge, and that's because on April 24th, 2020, Judge Brown conducted a hearing with the defendant.
Okay.
Found that the defendant appears to qualify for the services of a public defender, which is why he appointed the public defender's office.
So, and then the public defender did subsequently file a notice of appearance And if you want to have your public defender withdrawn, you have to schedule a hearing in front of your presiding judge. That's not me, that's Judge Nicola. That's not just automatic when you file a piece of paper. Would you like to do that?
Well, yes, because actually Judge Nicola went up there and on the, I believe it was the 24th of April, she had sent me for an adversary probable cause hearing.
Okay.
For June 15th, which never happened.
So it sounds like you've got some issues you want to raise in front of your presiding judge. I'm not sure. So technically you still do have a public defender who's representing you until the judge signs an order allowing that attorney to withdraw. And I'm not sure then.
None of my motions that I've ever put in, because I was arrested March 10th of this year.
Okay.
Last year, excuse me. And all of the motions submitted have never been answered.
Okay. Well, if you have an attorney, you can't. Okay. I'm trying to explain things to you.
These motions were submitted before the public defender's office ever was appointed to my case, sir.
Okay. Ms. Hall, do you have any idea why we're even on the 215 docket? Somebody contacted my office to schedule this. I thought for a plea. We're not ready for a plea. Mr. Lepeska has some other issues he wants addressed in front of his presiding judge.
In my notes, I have that this one was asked to be put by the attorney on it, carried officer, to set it as a plea.
But it sounds like he still wants to argue his motion to have his attorney withdrawn from the case. So first question is to you, Madam Clerk. Do we already have a court date in front of Judge Nicola? Or does he need one?
I see a February 15th at 10 a.m.
Yes.
So we're gonna leave this as previously set. He can go to see Judge Nicola, but in the meantime, will you please tell his attorney in your office to contact Judge Nicola's office to schedule a hearing on his motion to have her taken off of his case, because I don't think he wants her to represent him anymore. But somebody's got to contact the judge's office to set a hearing on that request. Okay, so Mr. Lepeska, we're going to get you back in front of your presiding judge, and you'll have a chance to argue your motion to have your PD set aside or taken off your case, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right. Anything further? No problem. Anything further to come before the court? NJC, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone here in the courtroom.